Aumbale, aumbale, aumbale. Ooh. Testing, testing, eins, zwei, drei.
Yo, not a sec. Let me do the thing because I don't know why. You're recording? Okay, can you talk? Because I'm still a noob. You can hear me though, right? I can't hear you. I just downloaded the app on my computer. I'm still figuring audio settings. Jesus. Okay, keep speaking so I test. You can still hear me, right? Let me try something. I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, it was on your part then.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This it's possible. You hear me now though?
Yeah, I hear you with loud and clear, brother.
Loud and clear. What's up? Welcome
Yo.
back to episode 2 of Zach and Zach.
Oh no. I wanted it off the record. We wanted to discuss like the title and shit.
Dude, everything's on the fucking record, yo.
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you, like this show, I know we can talk about title, we can talk about things, but I'm thinking that, yo, we're just showing people, like, we're just chilling. We're just straight chilling, yo. And so, like, we can show them a little bit, like, behind the curtains.
Behind the scenes of us fumbling, to figure out shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's real. It's raw.
So here's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking we have two versions to test it out because I don't know what works and I don't like it's all about testing and experimenting. Right. So I'm thinking of like creating some test channel and putting the title I sent you and you keep yours and we'll see like what works, you know? Like I post it here twice and we just test the version. It's A/B testing. Like version A, version B, whichever works, we stick with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I like Zach and Zaki. I think that like, and especially because it's Zoom. Zach and Zaki, Zoom. What was the word?
Right. Zach and Zaki. I
Zoom?
like it too.
Yeah, Zach and Zaki.
What did you think otherwise? Like I'm pretty sure you thought of other ones too.
Of
Share with
name?
Yeah, share with me the names that you
Well,
thought.
I told
As
you.
embarrassing as it is, share.
So originally, I was like, "Yo, we got to continue with the alliteration of Z, Zach and Zaki, uh, Zoomsteig." But I was like, we got to mention the fact that this is during Corona,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
because like Corona Zoomsteig. Yo, so I called it Zach and Zaki Corona Zoomsteig. But like, you're like, dude, no one knows what Steig is. Even most Jews don't know what that is.
No
Like
one's gonna go on YouTube and like Google Zoomsteig. You know what I mean?
zero people, zero, not even my parents.
Maybe four or five.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. My
Leave
name.
it.
What?
Leave it, and leave the name, and we'll test. Like I said, we'll have two versions, and each time we post, and we'll see what works. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll just have fun with it. It's a shame that we didn't record our last convo. Our last convo was popping, but you know,
All our convos are gonna be popping,
all
dude.
our convos are going to be popping. And also, one of the most important things that like I hope that like people learn from this whole thing is that doesn't matter external circumstances. It doesn't matter if we recorded, if we didn't record it, if we did this, we got out of Egypt or we didn't get it. No matter what's happening, we got to be chilling. You know,
We're doing that. We
doesn't matter.
chilling, baby. We chilling. We
You know,
chilling.
yeah. That's the super chill, and that's like the most. That I think is the lesson of this whole Corona quarantine. Is that we're stuck in our houses? Oh no, we're stuck. We can't go out and party. And like I miss like picking up girls. It's
Yeah, I
like
miss that a lot, man.
dude. So I just did this, and this is on the video. So I just did Ashram Bamidbar. This like this it's this Buddhist getaway in the middle of the desert in Israel, and like a lot of cool like people in this country go there, you know. And I don't think it's not just Jews; it's Jews, Arabs, Christians. Like
What is it called?
Ashram Bamidbar
Bamidbar.
means in the
Ba
desert.
Midbar is desert.
Yeah, and so I went on, and like there was like 200 people
When was this?
just now. That's why I couldn't. That's why I was like, I'll text you. I'll call you in a second because I was just doing this thing. And so like I found a girl that I liked. There's 200 people. I found the girl that I liked. I started DMing her, got her Facebook info. So do what we can. But at this point, it's just for sport, so I don't forget. I don't forget how to like.
You become rusty. You forget how to hunt.
Yeah, forget how to.
You know?
Exactly. But so everyone out there, like,
Hey man, happy Passover first
oh,
and
happy Passover, bro. Thank you.
tell us the story. For as a Palestinian, I know jack shit other than from pop culture. Tell me the story. Tell
The
me what's
story of
Passover.
Passover.
Story of Passover.
All
Begin.
right, let's do this. So, the story, like all good stories, you could start it in so many places. You can because you can go back, like what really caused it, what really caused it. Um, and so like what led the Jews to get down to Egypt? And by the way, when I say Jews, I refer to the Israelites, the children
So
of Israel.
there's a difference between there are Israelites that weren't Jews. Is that why you're making?
Many. I'm an Israelite that's not a Jew technically. I mean,
How come?
because I am from the tribe of Levi. I am a Cohen. I'm a priest.
So how are you not Jewish then?
Jewish means from the tribe of Judah,
Ah,
and there are 11 other tribes. But there's always been a fight between the sons of the sons of Leah and the sons of Rachel. And
okay.
so the sons of Leah actually they took Joseph, who was this very handsome, who had great like style and wore things of a lot of colors. And
That was your impression of Joseph.
Joseph, yeah, he cost a lot also. Because he smoked cigarettes. My impression of Joseph. Yo, look at this is my tallis, my Zadie's tallis, my grandfather's tallis.
Is that you wear it on top?
Yeah, he used to wear it on. He used to wear it all the time. And out of all of his grandchildren, he gave it to me. He's like, Zachary's gonna wear it. He's from Chicago.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and I love it. He passed away. Actually, while I was in Jordan, I flew back like in the middle to go to the thing. Anyways, you wear it like this.
So what's the significance of this? Why do you wear this?
This is a prayer shawl. And it's just very colorful. So Joseph Jacob had a bunch of he had 4 wives or 2 wives and 2 maidservants. I don't know the whole like situation. I'm like only 4. No, so he loved this girl Rachel a lot, right? And so he wanted to marry her. Her father's like, well, I have 2 daughters. I have Leah and I have Rachel. And he's like, we don't give the firstborn before the secondborn. He's like, well, right? But I want Leah. I want Rachel. So but it was gonna be very embarrassing for Leah. So Rachel, she gave like the secret signs to Leah. And so Jacob ended up marrying Leah. He worked for 7 years, and then he ended up marrying the wrong wife. And he worked for another 7 years to get Rachel. And they say that he was so in love with her that it seemed like a few days. You know?
What does that mean?
What's up?
What does that mean? It seemed like a few days.
It means that he wanted it so much that it was for such a long time he was working, but for him it didn't even matter.
Okay, time didn't matter because it didn't
matter.
So
So there was a big rivalry between the sons of Leah and the sons of Rachel, right? And the oldest son of Rachel, because Rachel was barren for a time, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And so a lot of the greats had to go through some tough stuff to become maybe who they are. So she was barren for a time, but then she had a kid called Joseph. And he had a Technicolor dream coat, and he was very handsome, and he was a little bit of like a pretty boy, you know? And they didn't like him so much because he was the firstborn from Rachel, and all of Leah's kids are like, hey, what about us?
Right.
And they actually sold it. They threw him in a pit, and they slaughtered a ram. They were going to first kill him, but then they were like, we'll just put him in a pit. They slaughtered a ram. They took his multicolored dream coat, dipped it in the ram blood. They said to Jacob, yo, Joseph is dead. And they sold Joseph down to Egypt, right?
Slavery.
Well, no, not slavery yet. Well, I mean, yeah, slavery. Yeah. He sold him down to slavery. And he ended up becoming like this, like high in command in this guy, his government guy who was high in command. And in his staff, he became big on this guy called Potiphar, right? Potiphar, some Egyptian guy.
Okay.
And Potiphar's wife was like really into Joseph.
As in lustfully.
As in she wanted that D big time.
Okay. Okay.
It says that in the Torah.
It says she wanted that D. Big time.
She was all over that. You know? And so Joseph was like, obviously like he's all the way like there, and he's behind his like family sold him off. He thought also perhaps that Jacob sent him to go check on his brothers, and that's when they killed him. He thought Jacob was into it also. He thought that everyone wanted to kill me. How far Joseph got with Potiphar, the difference is like they'll tell you as you get older, they'll tell you more and more what happens. Like at the beginning, they're like, and he said no questions asked. He's like, I'll not sleep with you, and then they sent him to jail. When you get a little older, you realize that the Gemara actually says, and like I should like have a source. Like if we were doing like an actual share, I would have a source, be able to find it. We could look at look at the psukim, but you'll come to one of my shiurim eventually. Right now we're just riffing. There's a source in the Medrash that says, which is like Tanaic. This was written by people about like contemporaneous with Jesus. It was like when the Gemara was written, or when the Mishnah was written. The beginning of the Mishnah was, and Jesus actually mentioned the Talmud. But anyways, so they say in the Talmud or in the Medrash that he was actually like hooking up with her, and then right before he came, he pulled out and slammed his 10 fingers into the ground and came out of his 10 fingers.
What?
I know, crazy story. Crazy story. We got to get shot in that.
What?
Crazy story. We got to get shot in that.
What the fuck?
I know, right? It's a weird one. Anyways, they send him to jail. He's there for like 2 years. He can't do nothing. He's just like sitting in jail. And all of a sudden, like he knows dreams because like, you know. And so the baker and the wine pourer of Pharaoh got sent to jail because like they messed up because like they put like a fly in his wine. They gave him a wine with fly and bread with rocks. Anyways, he tells them they each had this dream. He's like, oh, yo, dude, bread guy, your dream means that you're gonna die. Wine guy, your dream means that you're gonna get reinstated. Blah blah blah. He gets reinstated, and Joseph was like, yo, remember me when you get reinstated. Didn't remember Joseph for shit. He goes back up. He's chilling. He's got his spot back, and all of a sudden, Pharaoh has a dream, right? And he's asking all of his Khartoumim, all of his magicians and dream tellers, and they're all like, right? The dream was that there was like, you have 7 fat cows, 7 skinny cows, and like the 7 skinny cows swallowed up the 7 fat cows, and like you couldn't even tell that they were there. It's like a whole crazy thing. We go into that, you know. We could we have the 7 fat, 7 skinny. Anyways, Joseph's like, oh, I'll tell you what that means. It means that there's going to be 7 years of plenty. Because the wine guy was like, yo, I remember there was this kike in prison, and he was like mad good at dreams. Bring him over. Bring over Joseph. Joseph's like, oh yeah, the 7 fat cows is gonna be 7 years of plenty. The 7 skinny cows is gonna be 7 years of famine. So you should hustle collecting food for those 7 years during those 7 years of plenty, because those 7 years of famine are gonna be real tough. And so like he ends up becoming like high up in command in Egypt, and he does this. And during the 7 years of famine, all of his brothers come down. They're like, yo, we need food because we heard that there's only food in Egypt because somehow. So they go down and they're like, yo, could we have some food? You know, they're very like, humble. They didn't recognize him.
They didn't recognize him
because, you know, he's older man. He has a beard and like he's talking Egyptian to them. They were like, what? Talking amongst themselves in Hebrew, and Joseph knows exactly what they're saying, but they don't know that. And so he's like testing them, and it's a very fascinating story. This is just nice. What?
High level story.
I love a story. Yeah. Just by the way, update from that from the ashram chat. I just got a Zoom request from one of the hot girls in the ashram thing because she saw me rap. She's like, I gotta check out who this kid is.
Never sleeps.
You know, it's like, yo, I'm like dude, leave me alone, lady. No, I'm kidding. Bring it on. So like the whole story is crazy, and he finds out that they really were repentant, so
does that set the stage for future tribes of Israel, like being
so now you have Joseph, and so they sent down the 10 tribes of the maidservants and of Leah. But Jacob didn't send down Benjamin, Joseph's brother, because he was like, yo, I'm not risking it. I already lost his son. I already lost Joseph. I'm not going to lose Benjamin also, because Rachel only had 2 sons. So Joseph's like, yo, I'm not giving you shit until you bring down Benjamin, right?
Was Benjamin in on it too?
No, Benjamin was Joseph's actual brother from, right? Anyways, they come down. He gives Benjamin five times the amount of presents and stuff. Because he wanted to see, are they going to be like jealous of him? And they saw that, like, but this, and then he like tells them, he's like, yo, by the way, I'm Joseph, and my father's still alive. And they were like, they couldn't talk.
Wow.
The way that it's described is like they were like they were shocked. You couldn't have imagined. Anyway, so they all come down, and everyone, the Jews are like one big Jews. I call them Jews, but they're really Israelites. The Israelites are one big people, and they're chilling there in Egypt. But as the years go by, a new king comes out who didn't recognize Joseph's contribution, and also they're like, yo, like, if we get attacked by someone outside, the Israelites might join to them and attack us and then flee. Like, let's make sure that like they're slaves. And so that's when the slavery really started. And they started, it was, you know what it was like? You know what it was? It was a slow process. It was a slow process that was getting worse and worse and worse. And I'm worried, yo, in this Corona time, that the government is just like taking us out, you know, and they're making us be in our things. I'm hoping that it's not a slow process, or else Joseph's gonna get up in this bitch and have to fuck some, you know.
Yo, so Passover is celebrated by. Hang on, you made the distinction, between Israelites and Jews. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. So what happened? So we were enslaved. We were milling our own. We were milling our own like straw in order to make mortar, in order to build pyramids. You know, they weren't like, yo, here's the mortar, build us a pyramid. Here are the bricks, build us the pyramid. They're like, here's straw. Figure out how to make that into a pyramid. And so it was like very like hard work. It was like crazy shit, whatever. And it was bad, you know, like, and then like the story happens.
In the spirit of white guilt, on behalf of my Egyptian ancestors, being half Egyptian, I apologize.
Oh, forgiveness, brother, complete forgiveness. You know, because like both of us have like, okay, fine. So now we have this in our past that like your forefathers and relatives, whatever, like slavery the shit out of mine, and now also in Israel right now, Israel and Gaza, it's not the best relationship. It's not all that it could be, and so like,
yeah, man,
you know, and like I apologize for what like some of my religion, some of my people, my nation is doing. We don't need to apologize. It'll be the last time that we apologize to each other because we know that we love each other. We don't care about that shit. We're just trying to work through it, but it's good to be cognizant of what's going on. And we'll talk more about that side because you sent me that fascinating article. I just wanted to finish off this idea of Pesach and the idea of the 12 tribes, which is that. So, anyways, Moses comes in. Moses actually was born in Pharaoh's house. Moses was also in the tribe of Levi, you know, so I feel like an affinity to him. Moses and his brother Aaron and his sister Miriam, and they weren't allowed to have kids. They said all kids throw them into the river. All kids throw them into the river.
You mean the Egyptians said that, right?
The Egyptians said that all boys called zachar yishlachum nara.
Throw all the boys in the river.
In the river. So like this kid was born, right? Radiating light. And his parents were like, yo, we gotta like keep this kid. Like we gotta
they put him in the basket in the river, right?
Oh, so yeah, so like when they saw they couldn't hide him, they put him in the basket. And then Pharaoh's daughter found him, pulls him in, and raises him as their own.
Okay.
And that's why they named him Moses, Mina Mayim Mishichuhu, like I took him out of the water. That's why they called him Moses. He ends up like.
What's Moses in Hebrew?
Moshe. Yeah, Musa,
yeah.
And so the first time he leaves, the first thing we hear about him, he leaves his steeds, he leaves the palace, and he sees like the slavery of his brothers, and like the Torah tells us that like he killed some guy who was like beating up a Jew or an Israelite, and so he had to like flee. Comes back, he's like, "Yo, let my people go." Pharaoh's like, "No." He's like, "Boom, boom, 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 boom," and it was a whole process, which makes sense because just like the just like like the government weren't telling us like you can't leave the house and like these are the things and curfew. They weren't doing that at once. They kind of eased us into it, and so
Degradation, slow degradation.
exactly, and so to ease us out of it, the redemption is going to be in steps,
Right.
right? And that's why the Seder, the Pesach Seder, is like a bunch of like different steps, but we talk about every part of it. And we
Tell me
remember
the steps, man. I have no idea. Like literally, I've never been in a Passover household. You
wow,
know?
yeah.
So
So
explain it step by step. What happens on Friday? Does it start on Friday?
no, that's Sabbath. Passover starts on the 14th of a chodesh, a month called Nisan.
Yeah, in Arabic, same. Do we have the same
I don't
months?
know. What are your months?
Here, let me in Arabic. Here, let me Google it. We have Nisan.
You guys have Nisan. Nice.
The same word, same everything.
Same time? When did it start? What month is it right now?
Here, I'll check it out. I have no idea. Okay, because uh, okay, it's we're in April. It's Nisan. Yeah, April is Nisan.
Nice.
You
So
too?
yeah, we're in Nisan right now.
Okay, what do you call January?
Well, we don't. It's not that we call January. We have like the Gregorian calendar is according to the sun, and
Yeah,
we do it according to the moon. And
same.
so
Arabic calendar is lunar.
you guys are lunar, but you guys don't. As far as I understand, you guys don't like change it. Like you guys just have like the Ramadan is like just moving. It moves around. Sometimes you have Ramadan in the summer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have Ramadan later. So we add a leap month,
To
like
make it
7 times in every 19 years or something like that.
to preserve the
Keep
thing.
it to keep the month of Passover in the spring.
But that's fascinating. So what is Nisan? Is that the Hebrew calendar?
Nisan is the month of Nisan. Um, Nisan is the month, and then you have 12 months. We have 12
Yeah,
months.
tell me the names and let me guess what month they are, okay?
But okay, so I'll start. It starts with Tishrei, or you guys have a Tishrei?
Tishrin October?
Yeah, that's where like
Yeah.
Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. You guys have a Tishrei type thing?
We have Tishrin first and Tishrin second.
Nice. You have two Tishrins?
Two Tishrins.
So we have Tishrei, Cheshvan,
Uh,
Teves, or Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Teves.
are you Googling it?
Well, I don't want to make a mistake over here, but I don't have my normal computer, so it's hard for me to check and like write in Hebrew. But like I have to know it by heart, but I do. Chodshei ha Shanaz Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev. Here we go. Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev. That's where we have Hanukkah. Teves Shvat Adar.
Shvat, we have Shvat. That's Shabbat, February.
Shavat February. Nice. Yeah.
What is March Adar?
Yeah. Erech. What do you guys have?
What is it?
That's where
March?
Purim. It's where we have Purim and we dress up.
March?
Yeah.
We call it Adar.
Adar. We have Adar.
Okay. What about
Then
Nisan?
we have Nisan. Then we have Iyar.
Ayar? Yeah.
Then we have
Ayar.
Sivan.
Okay, no, that's completely different. Here we have
That's when we got the Torah. That's when we have Shavuos. We get Matan Torah. We get the Bible.
What's July? Tammuz?
After Sivan is Tammuz.
Yeah, with Tammuz.
Nice.
And August is Ab.
Av.
That's crazy.
And then the next one is Elul.
Ailud. Yeah,
Wow. It's amazing.
that's exactly the same, almost.
The Erech, yeah. That's super cool, yo.
Why is Arabic so close to Hebrew?
Dude, Arabic and Hebrew also as a language are very close, but also as like a people. We're both come from like the Middle East, like
Yeah.
like we get each other, you know?
I read this fascinating study that looks at genetics, and like the conclusion out of that study says like Palestinians and Israelites are genetically closer than Palestinians and Arabs, like as in Arabs from the
Yo,
Arab land.
yo, I heard that. I heard that a lot of Palestinians are actually from the 12 tribes.
I heard that too, or like people who weren't Israelites but were like, do you know the Canaanites and the Philistines who lived there who didn't believe in the Israelite God or whatever?
Yeah, those nations.
Yeah, and we along the years we intermarried and whatever, and like we're genetically apparently it's such a fascinating study. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send to me. I also like I'm very interested in like this 10 tribe thing. So what happened with the 10 tribes? So we see that like you have the sons of Leah and you have the sons of Rachel. But in the time, but whenever the Jews are getting like, I don't know, Inquisition, Holocausted, crusaded, um, like attacked. So that's what like the Jews fucking hate each other. Like there's so many different factions and like the religious hate the non it's like and the non-religious out of everyone, of course, but except for that one guy. But that one guy,
Fuck that, that one guy.
one guy, but everyone else in the world I love. And that one guy, by the way, is me. Mind blown. But I'm just kidding. I love myself. I love you, Shmuel. Thank you, Shmuel. All right. So you gotta tell you something. Every time I like say that, it's like, yo, like, but sometimes we spoke about this the first time that we're dealing through
Self-love is so important, really.
self-love. Self-love is so important.
So fucking important.
I know, and I do love myself. I do love myself most of the time. Sometimes I'm like, but most of the time I'm like, yeah.
If you don't love yourself, you can't love others, really. Like
Yeah,
really.
for sure. For sure. There's an aphorism in the Torah called V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor like yourself. So my friend is a Jewish rapper named Moshe Friedman, and he says one of his lines just always stuck with me is before you can love anyone like yourself, well, first you gotta like yourself.
Nice. Yeah. That's so true. Well, if you don't love yourself, how can you if you hate yourself, you're obvious love your neighbor as you love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you're gonna hate everyone.
Yeah, because so self-love is very important. And I believe like that the way, for me at least, the way that I've gotten to more self-love is I've been saying like, listen, like I'm trying my best. I'm very forgiving of myself.
Yeah,
and
forgive.
like, to understand that I am part of the infinite, right? And like it's not like that there's a God out there that's like looking to punish me, like exists in so many different religions. That like definitely growing up, that was like something that like I grew up as an Orthodox Jew, and so the way that like they kept us in line is like by yelling at us, "You're not wearing your kippah."
But do Jews believe in heaven and hell?
I don't think that the idea of heaven and hell, of a world after,
Yeah.
like a world after our world,
Yeah.
is
Do Jews believe that?
is what heaven and hell is. That you're gonna go. There are some sources in the Talmud that make it seem like that, but there are other sources in the Talmud that make it seem that heaven and hell is a psychological state in this world.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like hell is being in heaven and not being able to realize.
Hell is bugging and heaven is chilling.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like we can talk. We'll talk more about the psychological interpretation.
It's actually right here. Open. My book is basically open to that. This is the Gemara. It's in the tractate of Passover, 66b, folio B. It says that Kol Adam Shekoes. Well, actually, here it says Kol Adam Shekoes Im Chacham. It's a Gemara in Nedarim on 22b, but whatever, 22a. The Gemara says that Kol Koes, anyone who gets angry, Kol Mine Gehenim Sholtimbo. That all of these types of hell are like taking him over. And I asked my students, I'm like, wait a second, hell in this world, like what does that mean in this world? But then I said, okay, fine. But if a person could be in hell in this world, then a person could also enter in this world into the Garden of Eden, into heaven. It's a mindset. And that's the super chill.
Okay, so but widespread, on generalized, like on generally, do like the Jews on average believe in the afterlife? Is it part of Judaism? Because in Islam and Christianity,
what about Islam?
In Islam and Christianity, they're both big, obviously. Like
obviously,
they believe, like it's a big part of all. Like, you know, you die, you go to heaven. But I don't notice that with, you know, in Jewish traditions, you know, like say, oh, if you die, you go to heaven, and you know, if you die, you go to heaven or hell.
I'm saying cigarettes is the dumbest thing ever. No one should smoke cigarettes that's watching this. Like I just do it. It's like
something. Do you, man? Do you?
Trying to steig here. I'm trying to grow out of it, but right now, like, anyways, okay, fine. So Islam, you're saying they have this idea of heaven and hell, like somewhere you go if you're good.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Also in Christianity, that's a big part of it.
Christianity, I know it's a big part of it. In the Bible, it's not mentioned. In the Talmud, they try to like find like sources for it in the Bible, but like it's all pretty tenuous.
But from not just the Orthodox Jews in your vicinity, you know, like people in Israel, for example, like the average Jewish person in Israel, would they say they believe in heaven and hell?
Well, I don't know, because the average Jewish person in Israel, there's a difference between you go to Tel Aviv or you go to Jerusalem. The average religious Jew probably thinks that there's a heaven and hell.
Really? Okay, what about Jews? Say not just the difference in Israel, say the Jews in the US, for example.
A lot of the Jews in the US have no affiliation, and they like completely like don't believe in anything. You know?
What do you mean?
Meaning that like a lot of the Jews in America don't really have like a connection to Judaism. And the reason is because Judaism was like around the time of the Enlightenment, it was kind of like made into a religion. Judaism was never supposed to be a religion. We're a tribe.
It was history, a body of knowledge, right?
People. We're a tribe. I'll give you an example, right? You have, I heard this again from my teacher, actually in Shalem, Zev Magen, shout out Zev Magen. He wrote a book called John Lennon and the Jews, where he eviscerates Imagine, right? I gotta get in touch with him and send him Gal Gadot's thing and get him to like write something about it.
How do you, as an Israeli, how do you feel about your hometown girl cringing up on the internet?
Listen, I'll tell you, I was thinking about it, and I did think about it, and Gal Gadot's my homegirl. You know, she's like in our nation, so like I wanna shit on her.
But you have to.
I'm gonna look at her. I can give her benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say that her point was making is that, listen, Corona's hitting everyone. It doesn't matter race, religion, social, economic status. Corona's hitting everyone. Like, imagine that was happening, because that's what's going on right now. Now, the
intention was good.
What?
Her intention was good.
Her intention was good, but where did she go with it? She said, imagine that there's no religion. Imagine that everyone's the same. Like she quoted John Lennon's song. Imagine that everyone is the same. And I think that would be so boring. I think that what makes like this so cool is that like you have a completely different narrative, a completely different story, and by the way, different traumas that I have, right? And we're learning from each other, and that's what makes the world amazing. It's not one monolith.
Monotonous. That's very communist. Very communistic vibes, you know?
Yeah.
But also, I just like to shit for the shitting purpose because we're all bored and shit. It was cringy. I was watching.
Oh
This, like,
yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad. It was definitely a blotch because I don't think that's what like the Torah wants. But listen, she did something, and I also I think that listen, as someone who like puts things out, it's
yeah,
like sometimes it gets
I'm just
scary.
gonna
Like
be
how are
cringe.
people going to? But in the end of the day, she came out with it, and I applaud her for that. And maybe before she does that again for another song, she should ask me what song she should do, and we'll end up doing like a King ISO song. We got like a bunch of maybe we'll get a bunch of non-celebrities rapping King ISO or something about like positive psychology and about going through tough stuff and growing from it. It's my boy
Yo,
ISO. Yeah.
yo, talk me through the ritual of Passover. What do you do with like your friends, family? What is it? What
So
is it? What do you do?
it's usually a lot of family. Wait, I wanted to is a Yiddish word called fir ois, which is like to finish off this idea of the 10 tribes and how it plays a
Finish it.
part, and also how it ties into I think like 85% of Palestinians come from like genetically related to these one of these 10 tribes. In the time, okay, so we left. Oh, a book just fell. We left. We left. We left. When a book falls, you kiss it, and like this guy tells a story. When a Jewish book falls, you kiss it. Some guy was like, and he like did it in front of his like non-Jewish friends at his bar mitzvah, and they were all laughing at him and like so embarrassed. Like, what the fuck are you doing, kissing a book? But
They do that with the Quran, right?
you do it in the Quran?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Like this.
Yeah, awesome. So we got out of Egypt. We got the Torah. We went to Israel. Took the land from 7 people that were there. Everyone's like, we were there first. It's like, wait a second, right?
Yeah, you conquered it from
We conquered, but they say, but we had it. Abraham had it, and then we got taken slaves, and so they went back. Abraham had it first, but I'm sure there were other people there. Like, I don't know.
The pagans.
There were pagans. Yeah, there was a bunch of people. Like, there's big wars, and it's just it's important to know that the Torah starts off like in the beginning, like Bereshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and so one of the most famous medieval philosophers from France, named Rashi, who I pronounce Rashi.
Rashi. Is he Jewish?
Yeah, he was Jewish.
Nice.
It was 1,000 years ago. From like 1045 to from 945 to 1015, I think he was alive. Okay. And he writes that the reason the Torah starts, he says the Torah should have started by the Exodus. That's when the Jews became like a nation, when we left Egypt. So why does the Torah start with the creation of the world? So Rashi says, and he quotes actually the Talmud, Chazal, who say that God is telling us that, listen, I created the world. I created the heavens and the earth. I can give it to whomever I want, right? I gave it to these people, then I gave it to the Jews, right?
Right.
And so we're like, oh, okay. So God changed, he gave it to them, and then he decided to give it to the Jews. So I'm going to play devil's advocate for Islam for a second, and I'm going to be like, yeah, he gave it to the Jews, chose the Jews, then he changed his mind, and then chose Jesus, and then he changed his mind, and then chose Muhammad, right? And then, because all the Jews are like talking shit about other religions, they're like, oh, God changed his mind. Okay, changed his mind. Like, oh, do you remember that first Rashi where God changed it? Right?
Yeah.
I'm a thorn in the side of contemporary orthodoxy, because I learned them. I became an expert in Torah, and now I'm asking questions. I have a song called Zogan Lamdish Bambas, which I'm just it's like asking deep questions. I'm just all I'm doing is asking questions, but sometimes
you get attacked for it,
I got beat up because of my book.
Really?
Yeah, in the Ukraine by Jews.
The fuck?
Yeah, I got beat up, and I got beat up. I got punched. I got kicked. I dropped some Haredi ass ninja drop kicked me in the back, you know.
It's
Um,
fucked.
yeah, my neck was killing me. It actually just started hurting me again recently. But you know what I was feeling as I was getting carried out of synagogue, because like I ran into synagogue and then like I thought I was safe because no one was touching me in synagogue. Some guy grabbed me. I was wearing like a man bun at the time. I was doing like a man bun sort of thing, and some guy grabbed me by the cuckoo. And so like I turn around and start like punching, and I look up. This guy was like a mountain of a Haredi guy. He was like 6'5", and so like I'm recalibrating as I'm punching. And I hit him in the temple, and he let go. And so then I had like a chance to like run away, but I was busy basking in the aesthetic beauty of punching someone in the temple, and then they knocked me down, and like three people were carrying me out. And as they were carrying me out of shoulder. The reason that they got pissed off is because they asked me where my skull cap was, where my kippah was,
Yeah.
right? Like these kids asked me where my kippah was. Well, first they grabbed my book. I didn't do anything. Then I got pushed in the back, punched this guy in the face. But first, before any of that started, they were asking me where my kippah was. I was like, okay, like yeah, like we have a tradition to wear a kippah. You know, I wear it sometimes when I feel like it. You know, I got this one in Siena, Italy.
Nice.
Yeah. But so I wasn't wearing one, and they said like, "Where's your kippah?" I was like, well, "You know what? It's true. This is a tradition, and it's good to follow traditions." I was like, "What about embarrassing someone in public? What's more weighty?" Because it says that someone embarrasses someone in public, they have no portion of the world to come. You know, we do believe in a world to come. We do believe in something after death. I just don't know if it's heaven and hell.
But do you believe in resurrection?
So the Torah believes in some sort of resurrection. So I'll say that yeah, okay, I could hear it. Do I know what that's gonna be? Like a lot of these things, these ideas, which like could have made sense in a person's religious Weltanschauung 2,000 years ago.
Weltanschauung?
Yeah, man, with two U's next
Okay.
to each other.
What is
Weltanschauung, Weltenuuang or something like that. Sagung, something like that.
Weltanschauung?
It's like a person's worldview. It's German. So like they like it might have made sense that there was a guy in the sky punishing two people 2,000 years ago, but now that it's like that, like the world consciousness is way elevated. So
Yeah, we
now
have to
So
elevate.
a lot of people, a lot of Jews, and a lot of Muslims, and a lot of Christians be like, "Yo, fuck this shit, it's stupid." Well, there's some guy in the sky, and like
Yeah.
punishing us, and like once, so we have like more nuanced understanding about what the God idea is, right? We understand that we are part of God, and we understand it in the God idea has evolved, and so and
Yeah,
the
we
religion
talked
is
about the pantheistic view of God last time.
exactly,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we talked about that,
Finish
right?
up the 10 tribes.
Right.
Or
So
the
So they were all together after we left Egypt. All the tribes were together because difficulty is what brings everyone together. People stop worrying about all the stupid differences, and they're like, yo, like we're all in this together. We're all getting killed. We're all getting enslaved, right? And
yeah.
so the world right now that we're all in this fucking Corona shit together. Put it all aside. Put it all aside, we all now have something which is the great equalizer of trauma. The entire world is the same type of trauma. Let's put all of it aside, and let's just, when we come out of Corona into the New World Order, let's make sure that it's like redemption, that everyone's chilling.
We'll see. Personally, I think it requires more suffering than Corona.
Ooh.
I think it'll take more.
So it might, and that's a fear of mine. But let's try. Let's try
Because
to.
I agree with you. There's even Abraham
As
Maslow,
of
you know, the
course, the
people,
hierarchy of needs.
and he wrote not just hierarchy of needs, he wrote
Yeah.
the further reaches of human nature, great book in which he discusses, you know, the development of us as animals to becoming human
Right.
being, as a verb, being a human being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the main ideas is that humanness, being a human being, is like levels. There are levels of being human, like an IQ test, kind of like different IQs, different levels of being human. And to him, he seems to think that it's through the degree of suffering and no, the awareness of suffering that a human being acquires more consciousness of what being a human being means.
Wow.
It's
Yeah, and
very,
that's the
very
idea.
strong idea.
That's unbelievable, bro. That's what they say in Yiddish. It's Myridic.
My,
It's Myridic, yo, because that's the whole idea of Passover. So in just some of the things that we do in the Seder that we're remembering leaving Egypt and the whole story. And we don't just remember like the great times of like leaving and like getting, like getting Torah and like, we remember the bad times. We remember the tears, and we
what's Pesach? What does the word Pesach mean?
Pesach. It means to like come over.
Oh, to
Pesach,
pass
Passover.
over.
Yeah.
Pass over.
They say that because in the times of the final plague, the death of the firstborns, the Jews would put blood on their doorstep or on their door gate thing, and God would like pass over their things. He would kill like all the firstborns, right?
So it's named after that, or is it named after like them physically passing over slavery or
So,
something like
so,
that?
so I think it comes from there. Pesach is also the name of the korban of the sacrifice that we took, and that's why I don't know if you saw my Instagram stories in the days leading up to Passover, but I kept on talking about how we have this goat, right? And I was asking like, "Yo, should I slaughter it?" But then in the end, I was like, "Yo, like I wanted to see what people would say." Overwhelming, 31-5, said I should slaughter it, but I'm like, no, no. I was like, first of all, I can't slaughter her because you have to slaughter a male goat, and she's a chick. So I'm like, yo, we're gonna do the female reboot of Korban Pesach, and we invited her to our meal, and like she was there, like just chilling with us. She
Right.
actually took a shit on my friend's bed today, but whatever.
So Pesach means passing over suffering, passing over what?
Passing over the Jewish houses. That
Okay.
God passed over the Jewish houses. Now this whole idea. I'll just say this. This is the most important thing that I could say. This whole idea of Jews, right? I want being ontologically different than non-Jews is is a very problematic idea in my eyes. And I understand, like, okay, back in the day they had to like think like that because because we were getting like slaughtered, and so like for our own mental health we
You
were
have
like, like
not
we're
just
special, we're the
mental health,
chosen
man.
people.
Not just mental health. If you're going to be targeted for being X, then you have to be X.
Right. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't, like, Jews shouldn't be Jews and Muslims. That's what Gal Gadot is saying. That's John Lennon. I'm saying that we all gotta be ourselves and be the best, happiest. I can be the best, happiest Israelite. You be the best, happiest Muslim. Kawhi Shong, my teddy bear, the best, happiest Buddhist.
Right.
She's
The Buddhist.
signed by King ISO and Rabbi Waxman. My favorite rapper, my favorite rabbi. But she's very nervous about Corona, so she always wears.
Safety first, Safety
Yeah.
first.
And so she's the best, happiest Buddhist. And the atheist should be the best, happiest atheist. If we're all chilling, we all want good, and we all want, right? I want the happiness of other people also, because like when you make another person happy, that's geschmack. That's awesome. And if we're all just helping everyone just chill,
Yeah,
and
man.
because we realize that's really important. We realize that we don't need to go outside to chill. There's nothing external which causes that chill. People think that like, oh, yo, if I'm going out and I'm hooking up and I'm doing shows and I'm doing it, then I'll be happy, right?
It's in here.
Oh, it's in here. It doesn't matter, you know?
And it showed how important human connections are, Like everyone didn't realize how much they relied on other people,
Yeah,
not just for their own mental health, how much of social creatures we are.
yeah. And yeah,
Everyone wants to just reach out, literally.
yeah. Yeah, people are like, yo, like, Yeah, like yeah, and when everyone realizes that they're good, even sitting in their room, you know, fucking hotboxing cigarettes like an idiot, but
Yo,
still,
I watched. I saw this. I think it was a meme or something. It was say highlighting the perspective of like how important perspective is. It was saying stuck at home, and then below it, safe at home. You know,
ah,
everything is a perspective.
yeah, it's all in the mindset.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I hope that like we can be, because I'm an expert at trauma. Done so much trauma. I got hit by a car. I went to the army, like the army PTSD like crazy. I was in a warrior. It was fucking nuts. And then like I got kicked out of college, kicked out of rehab, with a psych ward. Like I've been, you
We'll
know,
talk more. Yeah, we need
oh,
to talk more.
definitely, definitely. But like I've got to the point where like while I'm going through the trauma, I'm like thinking like, all right, I'm gonna grow from this. It sucks that like this happened or that happened, that, but I'm gonna grow from this, and it's going to be a positive thing, and just got to keep moving.
It's like you can detach yourself while going through the trauma and observe.
Sometimes it brings me down to like horrible places, and like I get very like, and I don't sometimes like when I don't know how to get out of it, and like it gets really tough. You know, I don't have like a full neurobiology in the frontal lobe to like be able to keep me inhibited, that like certain thoughts won't percolate. Everything fucking gets through. I got no cognitive shield. I just everything gets through and everything comes out.
And sometimes it's overwhelming, man. You feel like it's like you feel you're going crazy sometimes, you know?
Mhm. What about you?
But
You have any experience with
yeah, man, sometimes it's hard. It's very hard to tame the tame the unconscious, what Carl Jung calls the unconscious. You know, dreamland, the land of spirituality, the land, you know, the madness that lies beneath the perception of control. Like sometimes you're conscious, right? You feel like you're in control of your own thoughts, of how many thoughts per minute, you know, or per second you can think. But sometimes you're right, the inhibition goes and you feel like you're going crazy.
right, the iterations?
The iterations and the obsessions and, you know, different thoughts lead, like it's literally being, it's like being awake in a crazy dream, kind of.
Right. Yeah. It's like it says one of the curses like in the Bible. Which is, I have like we'll talk about like what, but one of the curses in the Bible is like, yo, like what's gonna be is that you're not gonna believe in your life. Lo ta'aminu b'cheich. You see, I can't. And when I read that again, like I was like, oh my god, like I was with my friend, like, yo, dude, you've heard me say that before. Like, I can't believe that it's like this. How is this even possible that my life is like?
Yeah, it's important to, I think, like reading the Bible through a perception of it being a work of humanistic philosophy, like our early human ancestors trying to describe the process of them finding themselves in a higher state of mind suddenly. Because the neocortex, the frontal lobe, the neocortex
Right.
is very new, is a very new
Very new.
phenomenon.
In the name.
And neocortex.
Yeah.
So before they evolved that, like such a maddening experience to find yourself having that capacity, you know?
Yeah. And that is has evolved. It evolved from you had like a one cell organism with like almost no awareness or consciousness, maybe like effectively zero, but it was alive. First, like how life evolved, that's another question, and all this stuff. But then, it turns
Yeah,
into
yeah.
a fish, gets eyes, starts walking on its fins because it's getting eaten. Oh, walking on its fins because it's getting eaten. Oh, the difficulty is what caused him to grow. Evolution was caused because it was fucking shit because he was getting eaten by these giant primordial fish. And that's what caused him to grow. And so that's the consciousness that we got to go when we're going through the tough stuff. It's like, yo, this is going to cause me to become greater.
Something, there's something I read that's
Phil
really
Collins.
funny and philosophical. It says, give a hydrogen atom enough time and it'll start to wonder where it came from.
Nice. The hydrogen atom. Yeah, it started with the hydrogen atom. One electron found the proton, found it, like the
And
nucleus.
then here we are. And
Started
then
spinning.
here we are.
What?
And then here we are.
And then here we are, right? And it went from, and again, so now we had reptiles, right? It climbed out on its fins, right? And then
Yeah.
and then bunch of people, a bunch of like reptiles were like around and on the earth. But then the bigger reptiles were like eating the smaller reptiles. So like we were like, damn, we got to evolve again. Grew hair, grew long feet, started giving birth and feeding the young. Like we grew tits. That's like a big, very important
Yeah.
part of evolution. And
Came down from trees.
and then we were able to run away, and we were able to instead of laying eggs, which like the bigger reptiles would just eat, we were able to carry our young inside, and that's mammals. By the way, mammals is called mammals because of mammary glands.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, why are you guys like so? Why are guys so obsessed with boobs? Like, yo, it's in the name. Like, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. An entire species is named after boobs. You know, so obviously they're gonna have a big part in society. Anyways, we had a tail. We were to stay away from these big dinosaurs and stuff. We learned and we evolved the ability to like live like in the trees. But then the dinosaurs were gone, and we were like, and so now we have a tailbone, which is it's reminiscent to that time that we were like in the trees. Now we have what's called Homo erectus, right? Lost the tail, started walking, started running exactly like a human, except missing what? Sapiens.
And neocortex.
Oh, the neocortex might have existed, but they didn't have any sapiens. Like the neocortex had sapiens is like an effect. The neocortex, like, I think it's just bigger in humans, but I think it's also bigger in monkeys than it is in cats and stuff.
I'm not sure what gives us the ability to this.
So what changed it? What changed a Homo erectus to a Homo sapien?
Well, based on the creation story, the myth, it's the apple.
Right. They ate something. It doesn't necessarily say apple. It says that there was
whatever.
In Christianity, I think Michelangelo drew an apple, and then so everyone was like, "Oh, it was an apple," but it doesn't actually say apple. There's a few opinions in the Gemara what it was, like in the Talmud. What it was.
Was it psychedelics? Shrooms?
Oh, so they don't say shrooms, but that's what Terence McKenna says. He calls it the stoned ape theory. That something flipped.
Yeah, like before the switch, whatever, the apple, the shrooms, whatever you want to call it, we were living in animal consciousness, like the Homo erectus consciousness.
But again, we spoke about the fact last time that like there's a gradation.
Yeah, but I mean the difference, like of us not feeling shame, like living like naked, that's animal consciousness.
Right. Some people so something happened, right? And then animal consciousness afflicts it. And so the Rambam talks about Maimonides. Remember Maimonides?
Yeah, no, what's that?
I mean, spoke about Maimonides. Maimonides is my favorite medieval. He lived with Muslims his whole life. I think he actually became the physician of some king of Egypt or something.
What's his name?
Maimonides.
Oh, Maimonides. Okay.
Yeah. So
in Arabic, his name is Musa bin Maimun.
Musa bin Maimun. I like it. So Musa bin Maimun, he describes when he's talking about idolatry. He describes the gradation, like how that began, and he says, like, yo, like at one point, someone's like, yo, like, what are we? I believe that this is like the first time when we got consciousness or something. Right? He says that it was Enosh, which is like Adam's like great grandson. He says they made a big mistake. He's like, whoa, since like the moon and the sun is like God's messenger, so we should worship them. And then, right, that's how the Rambam explains it. The way that I understand this Rambam and the way that I understand this Maimonides is he's saying that right when we got consciousness, the first question we asked is, yo, what are we doing here? And so we looked at the sky, we said, oh, it's the sun, oh, it's the water, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, oh, it's that. And that's how idolatry came. Until Abraham came with his monotheistic revolution and understanding that it's all one. But that idea itself has a bunch of different iterations, right? You have the Jewish one, you have the Christian one, you have the Islam one, there are some Eastern religions that are also monotheistic, some that are still polytheistic, some that are atheistic. But they're all different ways to deal with, like, why are we here? What are we doing?
It's philosophy. It's literally philosophy. It shouldn't have been taken as a religion and organized as such. It's literally personal philosophy of
Right.
humanistic nature, trying to explain the human condition to the best of their ability.
Right. And then one guy found it and he's like, oh, like this is the path. And it made sense to everyone else. And so that's how he like started a religion. Right.
But even both Christianity and Islam's too, are based on Judaism. Literally, they're based on Judaism.
Right.
Everything in the Quran, by the way, is based on the previous religions.
Right. And like that's totally cool. It's evolving further, and like that's having, and like, right. And so Islam has their story. Their story happens to include a lot of what happened to the Jews and the Christians, right? And the Christians have theirs, and that
Added things to it.
they added things to it. They changed some things to it.
They made it theirs.
What?
They made it theirs.
They made it theirs, yeah. So listen, and a lot of Jews that are not in the know are gonna be like, oh well, this is a reason to discredit Christianity and Islam, right? Because look, they just took what we did. So you say like, oh yeah, well, did the Jews take anything from anyone else? It's like,
You don't know, man. You don't know.
We know. Oh, we know. We know that the Epic of Gilgamesh was written before Noah. But I'll give you something even better, because we spoke about Moses, right? And the ark that it was put in, and then the daughter of Pharaoh took him in and raised him as his own. And so Moses was like, yeah. Like, I'm telling you, the vast majority of Jews do not know this fact that I'm about to say. All right. But there happens to be a story of a guy named Sargon. You ever hear of this guy, Sargon? I got you. Sargon guy. Sargon's mom had him hidden, just like Moses' mom, right? She realized she couldn't hide him. She put him in a casket, or in like a little boat. It's called a teva, in like a little thing. And it says that she put in the same exact type of tar that it says that Miriam put in Moses's, right? He's going in the thing, found by a royal and raised as one of his own.
Wow, so the same
narrative, exact story. So now so most Jews don't know about the story, so don't even have the problem.
Which civilization is this?
Akkadian, I believe Akkadian.
Okay.
We could check that out. Sargon. Eventually, hopefully, we'll have like people like fact checkers, like, yo, dude, check out what Sargon. Sorry, we could do that right now, but like, all right.
Or just wait for the YouTube comments.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, what? Sargon wasn't Akkadian from this.
The hate.
But I'm pretty sure it was Akkadian. Anyways, so a lot of like after they're enlightened to this fact. So you have basically two ways that most people deal with it, and then I'll tell you how I deal with it, right? The first wave is like, oh, yo, this is shit. The Torah is just ripping off other stories. I'm out of here. Go intermarry, like, and then, like I wish, obviously, well, I'm not talking to, but they're out, right? They're like, this is shit. They're out, right? Not. Then there are people who say, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, they won't even like consider that it's true. Like it's such a challenge to their
dogma.
To the dogma. Yeah, exactly. That like they won't even. I wrote a paper about this my first year in college. I said, and I wrote actually about the story with Noah and Gilgamesh. And I said, and I highlighted the difference between these stories, and I claimed that the Torah, who's clearly aware of the existence of these other nations and of these other narratives, we intertextually related ourselves to those already established stories, but we gave it a little Israelite.
Oh my God, that's so cultural appropriation.
So cultural appropriation.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Everyone does cultural appropriation, even in rap, like if you this is different.
I don't buy cultural appropriation.
I don't think it's a problem, because like everyone's growing, all cultures are growing together. I know.
Cultural appropriation. That was a joke. Cultural appropriation.
That's so bad. So in the Sargon story, right? Sargon went and he became the king of this nation, I believe Akkadian, right? But it could be different, right? So we'll put up an asterisk or something.
Yeah, yo, fact check it. Whoever is watching, fact check.
Yeah, fact check. So Sargon, like he just became like the king of this nation, and that's what he did. He's just like, all right, this is my new life. The first thing we hear about Moses when he left the temple, or he left Pharaoh's thing, is that he saw some Egyptian beating up his brethren. And he had to go save his brethren. They mentioned the word achiv, brethren, 3 times in the same in that one verse.
What's brother in Hebrew?
Achiv.
Achiv. Okay. In
What is
Arabic,
it in
achi.
Achi.
Achi. No.
Achi.
Cha.
Achi.
Yeah.
Habibi.
Achi is my brother.
My brother.
Like,
Yeah. So it's
my brother.
also achiv, achua, his brother.
Achu. Yeah. Achu is his brother. Achu. What's for a girl? Achuha.
Achoti.
Achoti.
My sister.
No, ochti. Yeah, ochti is my sister.
Nice.
Yeah. What's just brother, not my brother?
Ach. Ach.
Yeah, it's exactly the same word. Ach.
Ach. So
and sister, ocht.
Achot.
Achot. Okay. Ocht.
Ocht. Yeah. Ocht. Yeah. Very.
I cannot believe how similar. Like all this aside, just the language itself.
Yeah.
Just like what we just talked about, the months too.
Yeah. It's very similar. And in the New World Order, I hope to have a rap group. We could call it a Middle East. You know, like rap is not like, oh, I'm in this rap, I'm from this town. Rap is like you have the East Side and the West Side. You have like the.
How do Israelis feel about other people, not just like Palestinians, but like Lebanese people, for example?
It's too general of a question to ask. How do Israelis? I can only tell you how I feel, and obviously the answer is.
But I feel like you should have the pulse, your finger on the pulse.
Finger on the pulse. So I do have my finger on the pulse. I'm actually like an expert on my expertise of humans. I love like sociology, and I love like understanding like people. But my bread and butter is understanding religious Jews.
Right.
I can like, because like that's where I grew up. So basically I can tell you about religious Jews, I can tell you, but everything's a spectrum. And
then never mind. Yeah.
No, but I can tell you that there is like the more religious you are, usually the more intolerant you are.
Closed. You mean you're closed.
The more ultra orthodox you are, but even within orthodoxy, which is like the more the more contemporary, the more liberal. Even though they're still religious, they still keep Torah and mitzvos. But like my parents, are beyond that stuff. My parents are not racist, even though like they grew up in like the times. My parents are not racist towards anyone. And my parents are like not even really so homophobic, but like my mom actually she went back to school and she was in class with like she went to learn interior design, and so all of her class was with like gay people basically. And so that was like a very important moment for her, because she like when they're growing up in like the 60s or 70s, my mom, by the way, my mom is amazing. There's like I never not met a lot of people like my mom. My mom is phenomenal. But the older generation,
Is she in New York?
She's in New York right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your parents don't live there with you?
No. I moved to Israel. I left the whole family behind. But like Americans in Israel are family. Second cousins, by the way, is like brothers, and then like just random people like we're all family, because we're all like just like trying to like fucking live in this like foreign country, like learn the language.
Do you miss America? Do you miss New York?
You miss New York? I'm walking it.
New York.
I'm walking it. I do, like sometimes, but it's not a sense of missing. It's like I like to visit. I like to visit. When this whole Corona thing is down, I'm definitely visiting Ottawa. I'm definitely visiting Ottawa because I want to definitely chill with you, and I'm going to introduce you to my Steve. I want to do a rap show for mental health, for my like in remembrance of Kelly Frazier, who is an Inuit who committed suicide, and she was awesome. I think we spoke about her, And so I
Is
want
she
to do like,
Canadian? You said she's Canadian, right?
yeah, she's from like the north, she's
Indigenous.
indigenous. Yeah, and then I have a friend Jakota, who I believe is from Ottawa, and he's indigenous. And like, yeah, so like, I want to visit there. I love visiting the world and like meeting other people and doing stuff. But
You're welcome to stay over too when you
oh,
come. You know,
it's
obvious.
amazing. Yeah, and by the way, same here. Same here. So we're gonna like, yeah, we're gonna do a show there, hopefully, and
With the
like
natives, with the indigenous.
with because the indigenous is like everyone is going crazy about what happened, like what happened with the Israelis and the Palestinians. They're like, yo, the Israelis came in and they
Yeah,
like just cut
I see
completely
that
like
too, man. I see
what?
that too. I see that too. Like even so here on university campuses, like pro-Israel, pro-Palestine are always fighting and butting heads, right? And they always try to frame it. At least the pro-Palestinians groups, they try to frame it as the colonials versus the natives. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how they frame it.
Right. That's and like they're going and like they're saying to and whatever happened, right? Everyone, each side has their own narrative, but the whole world is like like boycotting Israel and all this shit. Israel, meanwhile, is inventing a cure for corona. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's see what they
You can't. I mean, this whole narrative of even pro-Palestine people. So here's how they get you on university campuses here, because I'm also guilty of it. Because like when you're in school, you don't have the time to think about things deeply. So you hear the sound bites and whatever, they appeal to your emotions. Like, hey, do you want peace for the Palestinian people and like equal rights and whatever? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. And then when you dig deeper, you find that, oh, okay, they don't want peace. They just like their idea of peace is.
I think that
This tagline is what they say: no justice, no peace. That's what they always say. And it bothered me because like how can you get even justice and equality and everything without peace in the first place? Like peace is a prerequisite to everything.
Yeah.
So the whole motto, the motif, the entire it's inherently problematic and confrontational. No justice, no peace. You cannot have justice without peace.
It's interesting. Good word. That's a good word.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I'm saying, yeah. So I'm saying that, yeah, there's a lot of work and hopefully like a lot of things that have to happen, but hopefully us doing this Zoomcast will
life is short. Life is short. We're all gonna die. So
exactly. Let's like focus on what's important. Let's chill together. Let's that's what I'm saying. In the New World Order, I want to make a Middle East like rap group, like at the East Side, I think we have Middle East. I used to say that I'm an Israeli rapper, but now I'm a Middle Eastern rapper. Like, listen, we have Israel, we have, a Middle Eastern rapper. We're all in this together. We're all from the Mediterranean. We all eat hummus. All right.
We all eat hummus.
Moving on.
The hummus eaters.
Hummus eaters, yo.
Yeah, man.
Lil Dicky. You know Lil Dicky?
I love Lil Dicky.
Lil Dicky. I love Lil Dicky. So Lil Dicky, he's Jewish, right?
No shit.
No,
you don't say. You don't say.
But so people ask me, what do I think about Lil Dicky? Like, do you think he's the best Jewish rapper of all time? So it's like, well, you got to give respect to Mac Miller, but Lil Dicky is the best. Not only is he the best Jewish rapper of all time, Lil Dicky is a once in a lifetime talent. Lil Dicky is one of the best rappers alive.
He's like Eminem coming up, to be honest. Like craziness. He's crazy. He's a little bit crazy.
Oh yeah.
He came out with a show, right?
Dude, Dave, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so Lil Dicky says one of his lines, a great line about hummus. He's like something about a girl, like she's never flummoxed. I take chickpea and smash. I call it hummus.
Hummus, yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Smash. I call it hummus. So yeah, so we all eat hummus. Okay, moving on. What I want to say is that the whole situation with Americans coming in and taking, the Europeans, the white Europeans coming in and like completely like raping and pillaging and poisoning and destroying the Native Americans, you know,
Yeah.
like that's gotta be like taken into the conversation. Also, I want freedom, and not only for the I want not only that my Palestinian friends could come over to Jerusalem and see me in a show. Not only that do I want to see happen, but I want to see the indigenous people in Canada get like get support from the government that they deserve. I know
They
that there's
do.
no
The problem is mental health is overlooked.
what?
Mental health is overlooked.
Mental health is overlooked, but not anymore. It was also overlooked in halacha, in Jewish law, until Corona happened, and then they're like, okay, yo, if you're bugging out and you're gonna fucking kill yourself, or like you're even gonna lose your mind, pick up a phone, text a friend, watch a show, chill. Like that's way more important. Human life is the most important thing, and
Yeah.
mental health is very overlooked. And also something that I think could be great for mental health is that in the entire like Arctic part of Canada, there's no jail. And so if someone has to go to jail, he has to go like 5 hours away from his house, completely taken away from everything he realizes. Like they just don't care enough about those people. And Kelly Fraser talked about that, and also something even in education. And so like that also is something that I want to take, and I want to, I want
You know what
to.
we should do? Organize like a trip if you want to come here, and then we talk to go live with the indigenous people for a bit, and then
Dude, that would
smoke
be
weed with them and
dope.
just live with them.
Yeah, that would be dope, yo. I'm so down. And like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like we gotta see what's going on. Like when am I gonna be able to even get out there?
No one
But
can move now.
no one knows. Yeah, no, right now we just gotta focus on being happy where we are in the situation that we are. Because if we can be happy, the whole world can be chilling inside, like so we can be chilling like no matter what. And that's I think is the idea of the redemption to the whole world. You know?
So is there an idea of? So I know there's an idea of tikkun olam.
Right. Great
Is that
stand of weed.
yeah? Is that yeah? Dope company, dope weed company. Is that the idea of redemption in Judaism, or is
So,
it different?
so Tikkun Olam is an idea that was popularized really by Reform Judaism. It's in Orthodoxy also, but Reform really took that and made that like the focal point. And I think that is important. But I think that every nation should view themselves, every individual should view himself as or herself or themselves as chosen to make this world a better place. You know, like I don't believe that the Jews are chosen. The Jews are chosen, and like the rest of the nations are not. The Jews, we look at ourselves as chosen. We have this mission. Okay, everyone should look at themselves. They have mission to make this world an amazing place. You know.
Yeah. You have to be chosen to be chosen. You know what I mean? You have to choose to be chosen, kind of thing.
Yeah, but we choose to. We choose. Everyone could choose it.
Everyone can, but not everyone wants to. Because it's easier not to, like, less responsibility, less things to think about.
Right.
You don't hold yourself to a higher standard.
Right. I hold myself to a lower standard. I'm like, I hold myself. I don't hold myself to any standard. I just
Me
the
too.
only real religious thing that I think that like the real religious thing that God really wants from us is that we're happy and that we're chilling.
That's the only thing that
We're a
matters.
part of God. We're a part of God and we're suffering,
It's really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's really very simple.
Yeah.
Life is short. We're all gonna die. So be gentle on yourself. Be gentle on others.
Exactly. Be gentle on yourself. Be gentle on others.
Have a good time. Have a good time. Try to have.
Of course, we have to. We have to.
What's the point, dude?
Exactly.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, God wants us to be happy. He wants us to be partying. The first Mishnah in the entire Gemara talks about that these people they forgot to say Shema, Hero Israel, right? They forgot to say it because they were partying, and they can I still say it? And they're like, yeah, don't be so stringent. You can go until break. I know the rabbis told you until midnight. They were just trying to be like stringent and like so that you wouldn't come to miss it. But you got to know, party, have a great time. When you get back and you're drunk, So you talk about the unity of the entire world, which is like the motto of the Jewish people, which is that God is one, right? And this was understood as like, oh, there's one God in the sky. There's not like two gods. There's not, right? And like the Christians, because they have a God and a devil, and like they're equal opposites. And so like it's like the Jews, in order to like
The devil, you know what I understand,
one
like
God.
personally, what I think? I think so. Right, we said the stories of the Bible are just interpretations of early humans as to how they understood the world, reality, and their own consciousness. Right? Okay. The devil seems to be, or the idea of the devil is a person's ego. But they didn't have a word for ego. They didn't
Right. The evil
understand
inclination. The evil inclination.
ego. Your ego.
Right. But we don't think that the ego is devil, and that's why Jews fuck, right? Christians, like if you want to, and that's not all Christians. It's really only Catholics. But if you want to have a relationship with God, then you cannot have a relationship with like another human. And so then like that was like the biggest like trying to like squash human proclivity like since communism. When communism came in, right? It's a good idea, but it doesn't work. Doesn't like the Jews. The reason that rabbis have like all these kids is because we view even the physical as spiritual, because everything is God. And so there's like it's a big like divine service to like be partying and eating good food. We have great meals, like they say about Jews. Every Jewish holiday is they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. That's,
Yeah.
that's what it's like. And we have
I
these
love that.
we have huge meals. And so and so
Arochat.
Barucha, yeah, nice. So we have like that idea of monotheism, that there's one God, not two. Right? And that's how like we've been understanding it for a long time, especially in the context of Christianity and separating ourselves from Christianity. They have two forces. We said that even the evil inclination, we could use that again, we're using trauma and using difficulties to rise up. And so the Gemara said, oh, you meet that guy and you meet him outside, take him to the base medrash, take him to the madrasa, Beit Midrash, madrasa, same word.
Beit Midrash.
And learn some Torah with him. And like that's the way to refine it. We're about refining the physical, not destroying it and abnegating it.
Yeah, I feel I don't know there in Israel, but here in the Western world, there's a crisis. There's a spiritual crisis. Like personally, I'm not any religion. I'm not part of any religion. I just like to learn more about everything. Um, but there's people here focus on the letter of things and not the spirit of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
if you don't have data to support whatever the fuck you're talking about, you're nope.
right. And
It's
yeah. And that, by the way, that is why Jesus, like, that was Jesus's issue with the way that Judaism was being like practiced in his time. He's like, you guys can have your Shabbos. We'll keep our Shabbos, our Sabbath in the soul. You guys can get your brit milah, right? On your physical, we'll do it to our soul, right? We'll, and so he was actually making an important point that like it is about the internalization of a disposition. It is about the spirit.
the
And
spirit of the law, the
the
spirit of
spirit of
things.
the law. And he says these Jews are just like fucking putting on tefillin, but they're not like thinking about like what is this supposed to do to them psycho-spiritually.
Yeah, man.
But what Jesus did was that he completely got rid of like the need to do any commandments, right? He says, there's an idea for this, like Jesus died, and so like everyone else didn't have to do the commandments. Right? And listen, if that's their philosophy and that's their path and that's their way to relate to God, then that's awesome and that's theirs, and like I respect it. The question that I have on Christians, right? Maybe we should get. I got one of my best friends is a Christian guy named Michael Ridley. He's not. If he heard me say, he's like, I'm not Christian. I'm atheist. So yeah, but he knows a lot. He's a quantum mechanic. He's a genius, and he's also. We'll get him in. We'll get him in for a future show for sure. And we can talk about instead of talk about Christianity, when there's actual Christian here, instead of the Jews and a Jew and Islam just fucking shitting on Christianity, which we're not doing obviously.
We're
But
not shitting on any.
I'm
We're
just
shitting on
joking.
everyone. Like we
Yeah,
shat on everyone.
shout on everyone. Yeah, this Zoom guys, we shout everyone, and we're just staggering here. I was joking about that, but
Equal shitting on everyone. That's all.
my problem, my issue, and like, but it's not an issue. It's a question. I wrote a report about this in my Christianity class, and I wanted to figure this out. Like, it's just a question that I have, an unresolved question that I have on the entire Christian religion is that, okay, Jesus died, and so then what, by Jesus dying, they don't have to, like, they don't have to keep the mitzvot, the commandments anymore. Okay, that's their philosophy, that's their religion, that's their path. Good. Gesundheit, hey, we say in Yiddish. Do it in health. Question is, then why is homosexuality such a blasphemous thing in Christianity? Okay, so the Jews can say that they're against homosexuality because they actually listen to what's written in the Bible. But the Christians, who have abnegated the entire thing, and they eat pigs, right? Those pigs,
Yeah, that's true.
they eat pigs, right? We don't. We're like pigs. I've had it. I tried it in Vegas.
I don't care. I eat.
I
I personally,
I tried. I needed to do it. I got like really high with a bunch of like rappers after a Travis Scott show, and I had a cheeseburger. It was delicious. Something I needed to do.
I don't follow
Personal
anything. I
relationship with
told
God.
you, I don't follow anything.
You don't follow anything. I follow what's good for me, and like I do what's necessary for me to have a positive, uplifting relationship with God, as long as it doesn't hurt another person.
I see what you're saying.
A person can do whatever he wants for his own chill, but if there's another part of him, right? Like this 2/3, I'm gonna say make that. I'm gonna hurt another person to make the.
Man, it depends on what you feel comfortable with. Whatever
Right.
you're comfortable with. That's
Right. And so I ate a cheeseburger. I ate a cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger. It was delicious.
blasphemous.
It was from McDonald's, and it was the only time I had pig. But I wanted to try. I had a very unhealthy relationship with religion growing up, and
You eat a cheeseburger from a goyim.
buying a bacon cheeseburger. All right, listen. I had it once. That was enough for me. I never had it again. I don't know if I will. It was just something I needed to do on my path. All right. I'm searching.
I'm completely fucking with you, by the way.
I know you're fucking with me. But I want to explain this to like my students and my people who like watch me and my fans, and they're like, "Yo, like, what's it?" Right? I want to like explain them because a lot of the people who appreciate me are people who appreciate Torah and understand like the breadth of Torah knowledge which I've accrued in my years and years of studying in Beit Midrash in the Madrasa, and so like they look at me and they're like, well, they don't understand. He doesn't wear the kippah always. He's not religious, and I say I wouldn't say that I'm not religious. I have a relationship with spirituality and with God, and it happens to be that with the God of the Jewish people is the way that I do it because of all the nostalgia and all of the history and all of like the stories. Whenever I do a seder and I'm eating matzah, I'm thinking of the matzah that people were eating in Auschwitz. They would trade all of their food for raisins to make wine so they could have 4 cups of wine. This is the story that I like. This is like my people and my narrative. And so that's my relationship with this almighty being, like you said last time. With spirituality, that's the way that I do it. That's my religious spirituality. I'm finding it for me. For what works
so
for
fascinating. Carl Jung says that too. Like each the relationship with the person's own unconscious. The unconscious, his word for the realm of spirituality,
right?
Is the cannot be the same for everyone. Like it's like a fingerprint. No two are the same.
Yeah, the Gemara says just like their faces are different, so too are their intellectual realms.
The relationship is different. Like
so of course the relationship with God is going to be different for every single person.
Yeah.
And so I took this idea and I'm like, yo, and this also applies to non-Jews. That all the non-Jews are on their path also, and I wish them well, just as much well as I wish the Jewish guy well. But why I say Jewish, and we're going to take us back to the 10 tribe thing. So we're in Israel, we're doing good, we come in, different like prophets stand up, the Jews are good, the Jews are bad, get punished, the Canaanites, right, and the Plishtim, and all of these things.
Yeah.
like all these different things, and these different nations. We come in, we're chilling. They're attacking us from the outside, from the inside. We finally we get a king. Originally, kings was not an idea that God, that Torah prescribed. It's like, oh, when you ask for a king,
Yeah, I'm here.
oh yeah, when you ask for a king like the other nations, so then these are the laws. Fine. So we get a king. We get King Saul, and he has these. King Saul was from the children of Rachel. The first king was, it's called Ish Yemini,
Ish Yemeni? What is that?
from Benjamin. He was an offspring of Benjamin, and so he did it. It got taken away from him and ended up going to the lineage of David, David was the son, right? Or Dave, right? Judah. David was from the tribe of Judah, and the entire Jews were united under Saul, were united under David, and were united under Solomon. After Solomon, there was a break. They broke apart again, and you had the 10 tribes that made a thing called Israel, and you had Judea, right? The Judea and Samaria. So that's Judea. You have Judea, and then you had Israel, right? The Israel, like you had Yehuda and Israel, and you had two kings, and you had sometimes like they would like. I don't think
Fine.
they actually like fought against each other. One time, actually, they did. They killed a lot of people from Benjamin, but aside from that, there was wars a little bit between the Jews, but like really like there were just like two different kingships of Jews. In the time of the first temple, the Babylonians came in and started fucking shit up, and they took the 10 tribes and they dispersed them amongst the world. And we had no idea where they went, because that was the way that they would make sure that like they lost their identity. They would take them and they would you would put these people here, these people here. He would shuffle them up to kind of mix them up, make sure they were good Babylonians.
Destroy their identity.
Exactly. and so that was like what it was, and it was just a thing. It was a myth. This idea was a myth of in amongst the Jewish people. The 10 lost tribes, myth, straight up myth that like no one thought it was ever gonna come back into reality. Straight up myth. You had Judah, a little bit of Benjamin, and a little bit of Levi that made up the Jews, right? And the rest of the people, straight up myth. We had no idea where they went. We never thought we'd hear from them again. They would tell stories of this mythical river called the Sambation River, and behind that, and up until 100 years ago, when Mendel Mocher Sfarim, this early Zionist writer, before the state of Israel, he would tell this story about this guy, and he went on this path, and he found these magical lands, and he found the 10 tribes. 100 years ago, it was a myth. No one thought. But now we have the internet, and all of a sudden, like they're like hitting us up and be like, "Yo, like we're one of the lost tribes." And people, we got the Pashtun in Afghanistan that we're in touch with, and we have the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, and
Really?
we have and some people say that the Shintoists who in Japan, that their temple is on Mount Moriah, the exact same name as Har Moriah, where the Beis Hamikdash is, where the temple is. So that's the idea. Gautama Buddha might have been from the tribe called God. I heard like that he was like a descendant of the tribe called God, and have it right. And so all of these groups in London, there's a big talk. William of Orange was very into this stuff. The Glorious Revolution, and like so, it actually a very interesting thing. This Rabbi Menashe ben Yisrael, who Rembrandt has a picture of, right? Rembrandt, one of Rembrandt's pictures is a picture of this rabbi, Menashe ben Yisrael. He was Spinoza's Rebbe. He was Spinoza's rabbi. He went on a trip to London to try to let the Jews back in because for a long time, Shakespeare wrote that book against Shylock, Merchant of Venice, and started talking anti-Semitic shit about the Jewish people. Yeah. Never met a Jew in his life, right? Jews were not allowed in England at that time. Menashe ben Yisrael comes to William of Orange, tells him, start letting Jews back in. When he's gone, the Jewish people, the Jewish rabbis that were back in The Hague in Denmark, they excommunicated Spinoza. And that's when Spinoza's like, fuck this shit, I don't need this, I'm out of here. But these tribes, right? These are the 10 tribes, and the Jewish people, which Jews are not only white. We also, because we have the Ashkenaz Jews from Europe, and we have the Sephardic Jews from Eastern Africa and Spain, and that's where the Rambam, right? The Sephardic Jews, by the way, mental health-wise, much better than the Ashkenazi Jews. And it makes sense. The Ashkenazi Jews had crusades and inquisitions and Holocaust. The Sephardi Jews were with the Arabs. The Arabs were much better neighbors than the Christians for much of exile.
Yeah.
And so like they have much less fucked up shit going on in their brains and their DNA. Like, the
trauma. Less trauma.
Trauma. And so but we grow from trauma. Fascinating thing happened about, 5 years ago. Because 15 to 25% of the transatlantic slave trade, right? When America took over slaves from Egypt, from Western Africa, it came from this tribe of Igbo, the Igbo tribe in Nigeria. And I'll tell you two cool things. One is that, and I might have mentioned this, I don't know. But a very famous rapper in America, he says the words, in a song called Yah, says, I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't a fact no more. You know who says that?
Who?
Kendrick.
No way.
Kendrick is from the Igbo tribes. Yeah, man. Kendrick is one of like these 10 tribes. And I'll tell you another really cool thing. One of these famous guys from the Igbo, he put on Twitter. He's like, anyone know anything about the 10 tribes? Now my boy, who I do Super Chill the Zoomcast with, sometimes I have 1 episode with him up, 3 episodes recorded, but like, as you know, like, his name is Harry. They call him H. And so he's like, yeah, I know a little bit about it. Starts talking to the guy, and like starts talking to the guy, and like they're like mad close now. And I actually got to learn through Zoom. I got to meet him a few times, but like whenever I was going through my stuff when I met him, and like I was like running a million programs in my head at once, and like it didn't like get me to be like, dude, this is a crazy opportunity to meet this guy and like really chill with him. But we got to learn on Zoom, and hopefully after Corona, he's going to be coming to yeshiva, and like we're chilling. Who is this guy that posted this? That lives in Israel now and plays basketball. He's the best basketball player in the entire Israel league. Amari.
Oh yeah?
He goes by Yehoshaphat now. Yeah, we've learned together. Me and Amari. I was on Amari's Instagram story, yo.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. But yo, like he's also like he's one of these Igbos. You have these 10 tribes, and all of a sudden nowadays, like the Gemara says that the redemption, the end of days, like the days of Messiah, are not going to happen until the 10 tribes come back, and all the Jews, right? The Jews are like, that's never going to happen, right? Because it's a complete myth. And all of a sudden now we know where these people are. We're in contact with them. We love them. I don't refer to myself as a Jew. I refer to myself as an Israelite. I'm an Israelite, just like Kendrick. And like we have this, and also just like a lot of Palestinians, by the way. And I know, and like, I'd be interested to get deeper into this sugya. Maybe we'll have Harry on for one of our shows, and cause he knows a lot about this.
I'll send you the article too, the study that.
Yeah, send that to me. Send it to me, and send me Maslov. I'll send you something about Saragon.
Yeah.
Um,
I have to call it short.
Sure, this is very long, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I have to call it long, man. Because I have errands to run.
Oh, no way. All right, awesome. So last words, and then we'll call it a shtag.
Yeah.
So you want last words? And then I'll have last words, or I'll have last words, you'll have last words. You wanna say
last
something?
words, man. Take last words. I
Take
just
last words?
feel it. Feel it. Whatever you want to say. Feel it.
All right, so just to sum up, just to sum up what we've been talking about, we talked about a lot of
Ton of shit.
a ton of shit.
Good luck following what we talked about.
Yeah, we spoke about a lot of shit, a lot of things, and we spoke about like Passover, and Passover is really like leaving this time of Mitzrayim. What does Mitzrayim mean? I'll say this one thing: Mitzrayim, Egypt, right?
Egypt, yeah.
So tsar, the word tsar in Hebrew, it means narrow.
Really?
Yeah, and so one of the ways to look at the whole idea of Pesach, they're leaving narrow-minded thought, and going on to the deep expanse of the desert.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
And
so symbolic.
Oh yeah, everything's symbolic. Yeah, it's mad symbolic. Leaving Mitzrayim, exiting slavery, right? The narrow-minded slavery. Sometimes people are slaves, right? One sushi. Do you know DFW? I don't want to keep you. You know David Foster Wallace?
No.
Right, next time we're going to talk about David Foster Wallace, but he calls the brain like this like he says the brain is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. Right? And the short-sighted views, of our world views, and the short-sighted views that we have about religion, about this, things that we think, we already know what the truth is. The goal of Pesach, the idea behind Pesach, one of the ideas is that leaving short-sighted and going into this having a robust cognitive life. And
so is it fair to say Pesach is transcending?
I hear that. Pesach, it's taking a jump up, a leap up.
Transcending.
In consciousness.
So transcending.
Transcending, I like that for it.
Right?
Yeah, beautiful, man. Beautiful, man. Maybe transcend the bounds of the physical reality that we're stuck inside right now, where the world is shut down.
Passing over hardship.
Maybe pass over hardship and grow from it.
Yeah. Passing over the narrow straits of hardship, transcending. Pesach. Right.
Pesach. I like it.
Right?
Cool, dude. Great talking to you.
Likewise, man.
Peace out.
I'll hit you up tomorrow or after.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yo, send me this, because like we said, we'll have 2 versions and we'll test.
Yeah. Oh, so we'll talk about I gotcha. Amazing. Signing off, Zach and Zaki.
Later, man. One love.
Piggity peas, one love.